Hello, this is Dr. Dustin Broombaugh with a quick review for our EDU 545 class, the fall 2016. Wanted to give you a quick review and some explanation on what the final project should be. So I'm going to bring in our syllabus for the class. I'm going to scroll down to page 8. Page 8 of our syllabus talks about our final project, otherwise known as the core assessment. It is worth 125 points, 50% of the final grade. This specific requirement is a Georgetown graduate school course requirement. Everybody that takes this course completes it. There are three parts. Part 1 is worth 50, Part 2 is worth 50, Part 3 is worth 25. Um, Once you complete this, you need to keep them in three separate forms. I'm about to show you here in a moment, and upload all three documents into LiveText as well. So you're going to upload it into Moodle and upload it into LiveText. All right. Part 1 is an overall assessment plan, which requires descriptions of how the candidate applies assessment for a number of purposes, how results are analyzed, and how instruction is changed as a result. So your overall plan of, going to give a pre-assessment, you're going to give a post-assessment. What do you plan to do based on, or what did you do based on the results of the first assessment that you gave, with instruction and different things like that. Part 2 is the results analysis of the field clinical experience, where each candidate designs a learning experience according to required parameters and evaluates the outcomes. And like I said, might not make a lot of sense yet, but once I go into the forms here with you, if you've not already done that, it'll make a little bit more sense. And then part 3 is basically the final reflection. Below page 8 are all the different standards for which you will be assessed on. Once again, trying to be transparent. There's no surprises here. Once you upload that into LiveText, I'm going to pull up those standards and grade you accordingly. But remember, this is worth 50% of your grade. This does, the expectation is that, as a practicing teacher like you, all of you are, you should actually do this. Give the pre-assessment and all that. Just wanted to remind you, bringing in our timeline here. This is due no later than Wednesday, October the 5th. So you have about a month to get this done. I think almost just under 5 weeks to get this done. All right. So to look at each of these. All right. These are listed right here. I'm at the top of Moodle. Scroll down just a little bit. The documents for the core assessment final project. Basically, I'm going to go through each three of these parts so that hopefully you're very clear on what you need to take care of. One, to effectively learn about all the aspects of assessment, but two, to perform well in this class. All right, so the overall assessment plan. Describe the specific assessments that fit into each of the categories below. These should be assessments used in your school or classroom. So it doesn't necessarily have to be during this time frame that you're going to be doing this project, but things that are used in your school or in your classroom, list them. List the pre-assessments that people might use, formative assessments, the different examples of them, different examples of summative assessments. List and briefly describe any other assessments. The direction indicates up here, leave the questions that I've formed here in blue, put your answers in black. Number 5, list and describe one example of an assessment you use, which is not a test, but another form of an assessment. Part B, from your examples in Part A, choose one pre-assessment, one formative, and one summative. These three should be intended for use in the same unit or lesson. In each, clearly indicate how the assessment aligns with objectives. Where applicable, describe clearly how the assessment guides instruction, how it measures learning. So basically, of these up here, make sure that you use a pre-assessment, a formative assessment, and a summative, and describe those in Part B. Part C, at least 3 ways to provide for student self-assessment of learning. Explain clearly how these methods allow the students to reflect on their strengths and needs. D, describe how you use technology to assist your assessing learning, how you manage the data and all that, provide examples. And then lastly in this one, describe a process which involves colleagues in professional learning team environment where they analyze assessments and other data and work together to recommend improvements for instructions. Probably going to talk about maybe any PLC work. I know as a former principal, we used to have common assessments, and we'd sit down and compare the data on that. And then based on that data, we would discuss, all right, well, teacher A, what type of instruction did you do to help with your students? And teacher B, what did you do with your students? And when we looked at some of the specific questions, maybe the delivery was handled on how the instruction took place was a little different based on the results. Sometimes you find that the delivery of that instruction maybe worked a little, was more effective in different areas. So there's part one, the overall assessment plan. All right, part two, results analysis. You're going to provide a summary description of the instructional unit below. So basically give me a kind of a little bit of an overview. Part B, just fill in the blanks here. What's your name? The name of the learning experience. So give it some sort of title. Who was the actual teacher? Probably you. Your grade or content area, and then when did you give the pre-assessment and post-assessment? So we hopefully can fit all this whole timeline sometime in this 5 weeks. There's no expected timeline. Any sort of unit of probably I would say a good at least 6 to 10 school days. Now time for analyze the context and administration. So basically answer all of these questions with a yes or no. Just put an X in the box and then give a description and explain as in detail as much as possible. Once again, just like in part A, put all your answers in black. All right, then part C, you're actually going to put the results of all this, and the tables below show the results of the pre-assessment. And then over here, you're going to put you're going to disaggregate the data a little bit based on the results of a mean, the median, the mode, percentage of students that were proficient, and how did you determine the cutoff for the proficiency of that. And then likewise, break this down, disaggregate your data for each student in the class. Don't put he or she's name here. Just leave them as student one. If you want to change it to Dustin Broomball, could be DB or something like that if you wanted to. But disaggregate all the data, put it all in here. And then likewise, you're going to do that for the post-assessment results, just like you did for the pre-assessment. Obviously, the goal is that you gave a test to see what their knowledge was. You provided instruction and content, and you maybe you had to come up with some remedies of some interventions to help some struggling students and things like that. But obviously, once you do a post-assessment, obviously the goal and the hope is that you see some dramatically increased assessment results. And then part D, answer these questions once again in black. Complete sentences, be thorough. Remember, this is worth half of your grade. And then part 3, all 3 parts are due all at the same time. Is just a reflection. Answer all these questions once again in black font. Complete sentences. Be detailed, be thorough, but don't overthink it. Just answer the question exactly what's being asked for you to do. Be more than happy to answer any questions that you might have, but this isn't a project that you're going to be able to wait until the week before. I was very intentional about waiting until we're about 2 weeks in, so that we've covered some content. Maybe everybody has a good baseline of content that's been learned or in some cases reviewed in class, and then now go over the project. This will give you about 5 weeks. I'd say probably a good 2-week expectation would be the unit where you have a pre-assessment. Actually give that pre-assessment. Show me the example of the pre-assessment. Give that assessment, disaggregate the data, come up with a plan for how you're going to address the needs based on the results of your students. It only needs to be one class. If you're in a content area where you might have 3, 5, 6 preps, just pick one. What kind of instruction did you provide? What were some details of what you did and why you did it? and then disaggregate the post results. Like I said, don't overthink it. Definitely don't want to wait till the last minute. Um, it's 50% of your grade, and I do spend a very, very extensive amount of time looking through these, especially with 26 of you in class at this time. I'm gonna spend a lot of time really looking through these, so make sure you put forth your full effort. Obviously, you know how to get a hold of me if you were to have any questions through email, and I hope this is very helpful for you. But once again, let me know if you have any questions or concerns. Thank you.